Here it is, a new tier list. Hi everyone, it's me Gaming Do, and today it's here. And it's a very unique tier list this time because for the first time ever, I am doing my very own tier list that I made all by myself. So, today we are going to be doing which Loud House characters would survive the Squid Games. And yeah, recently I've seen a video by Dan Tavius about cartoon characters who would survive the Squid Games, and it's a very neat concept. I haven't really seen the series, but I know the basic concept of all the games and stuff like that, and who I think would fit to each game. So I got 31 characters from the Loud House here, and this is actually my very first Loud House tier list. And for here, we got red light, green light, which means they're eliminated at red light, green light. Cookies, which means they're eliminated at the cookie cutting phase. Tug of war, which means they're cut at the tug of war phase. They're cut at marbles. They're cut at the glass tiles. They're cut at the last Squid Game. Or they win the entire thing and they don't die. So, without further ado, let's get started with which Loud House characters would win the Squid Games. Let's start with Lenny, unfortunately. As much as I love you, Lenny, there's no way you're going to get past red light, green light. I mean this in the nicest of ways, but Lenny is just ditzy. She's an airhead. And she will probably do something like mistake going by red light or stopping by green light or something. She would do something like that, and unfortunately, Lenny is not going to get far through Squid Games. It's just, if you know her character, she's the ditzy blonde of the show, and she's just not going to get all that far. Next up is Fiona. Fiona is a tough character, personality-wise, so I do think she'd get through red light, green light, as she is a bit smarter than Lenny. Cookies, I think she would probably get through cookies too. Tug of war, maybe. I think Fiona would go at marbles because she doesn't seem like she's the best team player. And when she was first introduced to Jackie and Mandy, she couldn't really work well with them. So, to me, it doesn't seem like she's like the best team player. So, I would put Fiona personally at marbles. And that's where she would be killed off, is marbles. Next up is Sam Sharp. To me, Sam Sharp would probably win red light, green light. She would very likely win the cookies. She's a bit of a baker, as shown in Racing Hearts. Tug of war, that's a bit hard. I ultimately think she would do it. She would, for the marbles, she would probably be working together with Luna, so she would probably go up there. Glass tiles, I somehow think she would win that too, but you know what? I think she would be eliminated at the Squid Game. Let's say she goes to fight with Luna, for example, her versus Luna. Either one of them would probably let the other win, so I don't know who would ultimately win that, but based on that, I think Sam would be eliminated at the last game at the Squid Game, so I don't think she would win. Lynn Sr. I think Lynn Sr. would be eliminated at the Cookies game. I think he would ultimately go through red light, green light just fine. But the thing is, he's a chef. And I know Sam likes to bake too, but it strikes me that he loves to try certain foods while he's cooking it, so he would probably want to eat the food, and in that way he wouldn't win. So honestly, I think Lynn Sr. is going to be eliminated at the cookies round, which means he's eliminated second round. Rita, honestly, Rita would probably win red light, green light. No, that's not what I wanted. She would probably win cookies too, tug of war. I don't know. Rita's a bit hard. Let's think about that. Um, huh. You know what? Ultimately, yeah, I'm gonna put her at red light, green light, only because if Lenny gets eliminated, she's gonna be heartbroken and she's just gonna want to automatically go because one of her kids gets eliminated. Um, and in that mind, I'm also gonna put Lynn Senior there too because they just it's the thought of a parent losing their kids. So, because they lose Lenny, they're gonna go too. That's what I think. Okay, for Luna, this is how I think it's going to work. Luna is going to go exactly where Sam is going. I think they're both going to make it through it all with each other's help. I know most of these are solo games, but somehow I think in the tug of war round they'll be on the same team. On the marbles round they'll be on the same team. So I think ultimately one of them is going to sacrifice each other, and I think they're both going to be eliminated at the Squid Game, the actual last game. So, ultimately, I think Luna and Sam are going to be at the same place where they're going to be at the very last game, but they're going to be eliminated at the last game. I actually have to do Luann before I do Benny because very similar placement. I think Luna and Sam are very similar to Luann and Benny, where wherever Luann ends up, Benny's gonna end up because, well, they're basically a couple. Will they win red light, green light? You know what? That's a bit tough because Luann is all jokey and stuff like that, but ultimately, I think she could pull herself to be serious enough to get through that. Same with the cookies. Tug of war. You know what? I think she would get through tug of war. Somehow I think marbles is their drop-off point. Um, I don't know. They would probably work together and get too jokey with each other and maybe get distracted. So, I don't really know, but I think ultimately Luann and Benny would be eliminated at the marbles round. And, yeah, I don't know much more about that, but yeah, Luann and Benny to me are going to be eliminated at the marbles round. Flip. Flip, some freaking how, is going to win the entire game. He's a con artist, basically. He's trying to get stuff for the almighty buck, and he has probably some ultimately, I don't know how to describe it, but he's a con artist, so I think he will ultimately make his way up to the top and win the entire game, and I think Flip is going to be the first one on this list that's going to win the entire Squid Games. Mr. Grouse. Mr. Grouse is going to, well, he's old, so somehow I think he's going to win. Well, I'm sorry, I think Mr. Grouse is going to be at the polar opposite. I think he's going to be eliminated at red light, green light because he's old. I mean, he seems pretty fit for his age, but if he somehow has to move and can't move. I don't know how you describe it, but because he's old, I just think he would be eliminated at this exact round. And to me, Mr. Grouse is going to be eliminated at red light, green light. And yeah, Bobby, oh gee whiz, more than half of these characters is depending on if how far their girlfriend makes it. Lori is going to make it past red light, green light, past the cookies, past tug of war, or is she? I don't know. Lori seems to have the worst luck on the entire show. So somehow she screws up and loses at red light, green light, and Bobby goes with her. So red light, green light is going to be for Lori and Bobby because Lori just has really bad luck on the show. Especially in the episode City Slickers, where she has like the worst of luck in the city of Great Lake City. So I think Lori is going to lose at the red light, green light round. Lynn is going to win the entire game. I'm not a huge fan of Lynn as a character, but ultimately I somehow think she's going to win the entire game. If you think about it, she's fast, so she could probably win at red light, green light. She would ultimately win cookies. Tug of war wouldn't be a problem at all for her. She could probably single-handedly win that. She would be able to work on a team as she works through sports teams, so she'd win the marbles. Glass tiles would be probably the biggest problem for her, but I ultimately think she would figure out a way to win that. And the Squid Game, she's strong, so I think she would win that. Which means I think Lynn would win the entire Squid Games. Lucy is definitely probably, I think she's going to win red light, green light. Cookies, I think she'd win that too. Tug of war, I think she'd win through that. I think her drop-off point is probably going to be the marbles because she doesn't really seem to be, like... She seems to be a bit of a loner sometimes. Like, she can definitely work with her friends and stuff like that. But she's gothic and... that is tough. Let's say she works with Haiku or something like that. I think she'll make it to the next round. The glass tiles... Wow, Lucy's another hard. This is actually pretty hard to think of. But I really should have watched the series before this, but I got enough of an idea of the show to know the rounds and what I think they would survive through. So, I'm actually going to put Lucy... You know what? She somehow wins the entire game, too. She can be really sneaky and can sneak up behind you and stuff like that. So, ultimately, I think she could stay hidden and... Well, none of the games are really about hiding, but... I don't know. Somehow, I think Lucy cons her way through the entire game and wins the Squid Games. Lola. Lola is just so freaking impatient that I think she's gonna lose the entire game. She will go and do something like, come on already, and then just run while it's red light, and bam, she's done. Lola is just freaking temperamental and impatient, and I think she would ultimately just lose at red light, green light. Lily, this is going to be the cruelest thing I've ever said, but Lily is a baby. She doesn't know any better. She's going to lose at red light, green light. That's about it. Clyde. Oh my god, I gotta do this again. Alright. Clyde depends on Lincoln. Lincoln, I think, is the man with a plan, which means I think he's going to win the entire game. He'll come up with some form of plan to get through all of these phases, get through all these games. Lincoln will win. Clyde will win. So, Lincoln and Clyde are basically together on this. They'll work with a plan together. They'll make it through red light, green light, cookies, tug of war. They're just going to make it through everything. Lincoln, I ultimately think, is going to win the game, and with that, Clyde is going to win the game. Girl Jordan. Girl Jordan is very athletic, as shown in a lot of episodes, so I think she would win at red light, green light, cookies, tug of war, marbles. She would work with a team in marbles somehow. The glass tile. You know what? Somehow I think Girl Jordan would make it to the end. She's very athletic, and a lot of these require athleticism. She is maybe a little impatient, which would be a little bit of a problem, but besides that, I think Girl Jordan would ultimately win the Squid Games because of her athleticism, and yeah, honestly, I could say the same thing about Sid Chang. She's very athletic, and especially with skateboarding, I don't know too much about her because she is on the Casa Grandes primarily, but I decided to add her on the list because we just needed more characters. And I know I don't have too much to say. I just think with her athleticism, she could find a way to get through a lot of these challenges, which require athleticism, and she's good at that. Jackie. Jackie strikes me as... Oh, I'm leaning on putting Jackie and Mandy in. I'm going to put them in the same spot as... I'm going to put them in the same spot as Fiona, and that's exactly where Miguel goes, too. I think all four of them do not work together well in groups. So I think Jackie, Mandy, Miguel, and Fiona are all going to be eliminated at the marbles stage, mainly because they don't work together well in groups. I know towards the end they started to, but if it shows that they really don't like to meet new people and they don't like to work together, then that's that. And while maybe they would work together with Jackie and Mandy together and Miguel and Fiona together, I still think ultimately this would be the round they lose at because maybe they work with somebody else and they just get eliminated. Alright, we don't have too many left. This is actually one of the quicker tier list videos in a while, so I might actually do 2 today to make up for it, but we got Zach. Zach is going to work together mainly with Liam, Rusty, I can't believe I forgot his name, and Stella. So wherever they go, I think they'll all go together. Except for Rusty. I think somehow Rusty is going to be eliminated at red light, green light. Mainly because he's super confident, and then his confidence is going to get the best of him, and he's just going to completely lose it. As for Zach, Liam, and Stella, I am going to put them... I'm going to put them in tug of war. Because ultimately, I know they would probably work with other people too, but without Lincoln or Clyde or Rusty, I think ultimately them together, not having the entire group, would just maybe... I think this is it for them, because they don't have the entire group together. I think ultimately they're just going to fail at it. I know there's more than 3 people for the tug of war, but they really work well off of each other, and because Lincoln and Clyde together just work well off of each other, Lincoln and Clyde help them. I'm going to move them up to the marbles, and here's why. There can only really be a team of 2 for the marbles, if I'm not mistaken. So, because they're split up, ultimately, one of them is definitely going to go. And I think they'll just all go together. This is... I don't know. If I had one of them to go, then... This is the most confusing tier list I've ever done. You know, this is definitive. I think one of them is going to go because they're not going to end up with one of the others. So, Stella and Liam are going to die at the glass tiles. Well, Zach is going to go at marbles because ultimately, I just somehow think Stella and Liam would go together. Ronnie Ann, I think she's going to go up and win. She's very similar to Lynn and Sid. Maybe even more similar to Lynn than Sid is to Lynn. So I think ultimately she would win with her athleticism. And like I said, I know this game is not all about athleticism, but I think she's smart enough to know all the other games. And yeah, Carol Pingree, the third to last one. She is going to win, and you know why? She is the polar opposite of Lori. She has all the best luck, and with her luck on her side, she's going to win it absolutely all. I think Carol Pingree is ultimately going to win it because look at the episodes, especially Selfie Improvement, where she gets first place in everything. Her luck on her side, Carol Pingree is going to win the Squid Games. I can say the same thing about Lisa. Lisa is very intelligent and can probably figure out ways to win all the Squid Games. And she's smart, so she can figure it all out. She'll probably figure out the pattern of red light, green light. She'll figure out the cookies. She'll figure out the tug of war, marbles, glass tiles, and the Squid Games. And ultimately, I think Lisa will win the entire Squid Games. And last but not least, we have Lana. Lana, I think, is going to... I think she's patient enough to win red light, green light. She'll probably win at the cookies. Tug of war, she's probably going to win at. She seems strong. I think she's going to go at marbles because she doesn't have Lola to work with, and ultimately that's going to make her lose because they may act like they hate each other, but they love each other, and without working with each other, I think marbles more than anything is going to take her out. So, yeah, that's it for this tier list. Depending on if I decide to make another one to coincide with this one, this might be it. But we'll see. I'll let you know in a second.